Alright, Legacy of Destruction stream. So let's begin, and we got Ancient Gears of Lightsworn. GX stuff, yay, except Lightsworn was never in the anime. So we start off with the Ancient Gear stuff with Ancient Gear Dark Golem. It's a level 8 Earth machine with 3000 attack and defense. Still wonder if Crowler was supposed to be the main rival, but anyway. This card is treated as Ancient Gear Golem while on the field and or graveyard, which is of course good since a lot of cards require you to have Ancient Gear Golem. Second effect, if this card is no more special summon, you can activate this effect. You cannot set cards for the rest of the turn, but you add up to 2 Ancient Gear cards and or Gear Town from your deck to your hand, except itself, then discard a card. And this effect is hard once per turn. This isn't too bad because you're not really going to set as much cards nowadays, but letting you search for basically anything from your deck is just of course very helpful. And then the third effect is the typical Ancient Gear effect where when it attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells or traps during this damage step. It isn't too bad. It is a boss monster that is treated as your original one and also lets you search, but it doesn't feel like a boss monster. Next, Ancient Gear Tanker, which is basically Ancient Gear Soldier equipped with the Ancient Gear Tank, but anyway, it's a level 4 Earth machine with 1300 attack and defense. When this card is no more special summon, you can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your hand except itself, and you can ignore the summoning condition. Because Ancient Gear Golem cannot be special summoned, just remember that. And if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon from graveyard instead. Yeah, this effect alone just makes it an instant 3 of, but it has a second effect where you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it. If you do, for the rest of the turn, all monsters with Ancient Gear Golem, or the monsters that mention it, gain 600 attack. Both effects are hard once per turn. And this second effect is also really good because you got a bunch of Ancient Gear cards. When they're destroyed by card effect, they trigger. So this is just an instant 3 of because first and second effect are both just really good. Next, Ancient Gear Commander, which is a level 4 Earth machine with 500 attack, 2000 defense. All its effects are hard once per turn. The first one is that you can send one Ancient Gear Golem from your hand, deck, or face up from the field to the graveyard, and then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Ancient Gear monster. This is quite helpful because of course this is an additional summon. But the second effect is that if you normal or special summon an Ancient Gear Golem, you can special summon one Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or graveyard, ignoring summon condition. And of course there's a lot of ways to summon Ancient Gear Golem, and your goal is to summon multiple. Then in the third effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, place one Ancient Gear continuous trap from your hand face up to your field. This isn't too bad because this basically just lets you cheat out your activation of your continuous trap, which of course you have a decent amount of. Overall, this is just really good because it basically extends your plays. Now onto the spells. Ancient Gear Advance. It's a continuous spell and you can only activate one of these per turn, and you cannot set cards after you activate this effect. When this card resolves, you can add one Ancient Gear spell trap from your deck to your hand except itself. Yes, more searching for Ancient Gears. But anyway, second effect. Once per turn, you can tribute one monster, draw a card. If you do, into the end turn, you can normal summon a level 5 or higher monster that is Ancient Gear Golem or mentions it without tributing. Yep, cheat out Ancient Gear Golem once again. Of course, you're gonna run this because not only you get to search, you also get to cheat out your Ancient Gear Golem. And finally, continuous trap, Ancient Gear Duel. Its first effect is that monsters you control that are Ancient Gear Golem, or the monsters that mention it, are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. Yep, that is going to be pretty tough. And then the second effect, which is a hard once per turn, where if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon one monster that has Ancient Gear Golem as material by using materials mentioned on field and or graveyard, including Ancient Gear Golem himself. And if you do, you can make 3 attacks during each battle phase, aka summon Ancient Gear Ultimate Golem, which only has a piercing effect basically along with the resurrection of its original part, so adding a triple attack effect on top of it is of course going to be menacing. Something similar to Blue Eyes basically. Overall, it's not too bad for a protection card. And now to the new Lightsworn support. So we start off with Dragon of Lightsworn, which is a level 4 light dragon monster with 1500 attack, 1300 defense. Each effects are hard once per turn. First one being, if you have a Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, which will trigger the second effect is that if this card is special summoned, you can send one Lightsworn card from your deck to the graveyard except itself, which of course you're going to have multiple targets for this one. These two effects already make it really good because special summon and basically gives you an extended play on top of it. But the third effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one dragon monster with 3000 attack, 2500 defense from your deck to your hand, aka Judgment Dragon or Punishment Dragon. Through Lightsworn milling, of course you're going to get this effect off, also by making any other extra deck play itself. It's just an overall must run 3 of because all its effects are just good. Also, Baby Judgment Dragon. Next, Wise Lightsworn Archfiend, which is a level 4 Light Fiend tuner with 0 attack, 1700 defense. Both effects are hard once per turn. Its first effect is that you can place one other Lightsworn card from your hand to the top of your deck to special summon this card from your hand, then send the top 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Not only that this sets you up for mill, aka it could be your wolf, but it also extends your play because special summoning, and it's a level 4 light tuner, which of course already makes this really good. But anyway, second effect, if this card is sent from deck to the graveyard, you can can target one Lightsworm monster from your graveyard, except summon, special summon it. Just overall extend play, you just need to run this. And finally to the new fusion monster. The fusion between Judgment and Punishment makes Enlightenment Dragon, which is a level 10 light dragon fusion monster with 3000 attack and defense. A monster I've been expecting, but not the stats. But anyway, it must be special summoned by banishing the above cards from your field and or graveyard, one each. And its effect is that the first effect is a once per turn quick effect. You can pay 2000 life to banish all other cards on the field and in the graveyard. This is of course going to be very nasty combination of Judgment and Punishment, but the banishing part isn't too bad because of the Lightsworn section. But anyway, second effect, once per turn during the end phase, mill the top 4 cards of your deck. That's just typical Lightsworns. But the third effect is that if this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can add one of each of your banished Judgment Dragon and Punishment Dragon to your hand, then special summon them both, ignoring the summoning condition. So you lose this card, it separates back to its original forms. Overall, it's not too bad. The nuke is basically even stronger, even though you have to pay more life for it. And also, if you lose this card, you just basically get back its 2 original forms, which still have 3000 attack anyway. Overall, not too bad. Next, Manura Lightsworn Athena, which is a level 8 light fairy synchro monster with 2800 attack, 1800 defense, requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner. Its first effect is a hard once per turn, where if this card is synchro summoned, you can send Lightsworn monsters with different types from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of materials you use for this synchro summon. It will be at least 2, and of course choice milling is just really good. Second effect is continuous, where Lightsworn monsters you control cannot be banished by card effects, which is of course going to be very helpful because it's the Lightsworn section that wants to be banished and not the Lightsworns. And Punishment Dragon will still punish your monsters, so keep that one in mind. But the third effect is that you can banish up to 4 Lightsworn monsters from your graveyard, send that many cards from the top cards from your deck to the graveyard, and this effect is hard once per turn. This isn't too bad because this just triggers more mills, even though it's random. Overall, a decent synchro monster, especially the fact that you can choice mill. Finally, Lightsworn Aegis, which is a normal trap, and it's a hard once per turn normal trap. Target face-up monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you control, negate their effects into the end of the turn. That is pretty strong to basically just be able to negate stuff, where if this are sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can set it. Yeah, you must run this because it's just a pretty decent negate card. So that's it for the new Ancient Gear and Lightsworn support. What do you guys think of it? It's just good to see these archetypes again, and once again, archetypes that haven't been supported for a long time. And Ancient Gears, focusing on Ancient Gear Golem. I say they didn't exactly need to go this route, but I am glad that they are giving the GX stuff a little more love, especially because Lightsworn was introduced during GX time. As for Lightsworn, we finally got the fusion between the dark and light counterpart of the 2 dragons. I've been waiting for it for a long time and just happy to see it. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.